There are some things that we're doing wrong, and those things will need to be fixed. And so it's not just saying, hey, come and enjoy life, it's a big party. It's also keep your elbows off the table, learn good manners, tuck a napkin into your neck, all of those kinds of things. While the mocker and the wicked reject correction, the wise one not only welcomes correction, but also receives instruction. So a wise person is one who listens when they get chewed out because they want to improve. But a mocker just rejects that and goes on their way. Teaching includes both the positive and the negative. Do you see the ladies or do you see the vase? In instruction in God's teaching, we have both. We have both. We have the positive and the negative in this world. In wisdom's view, people show their character by the response that they make to correction. Oftentimes you see signs that say, character is what you do in the dark, or character is what you are when no one is looking. Wisdom says character is how you respond to correction. Do you just say, I know better than that, or I'm not listening to them. They just make me mad and I'm going to go on my own way. I'm going to do it my way. That is not the character of a wise person. People show their character by their response to correction. The mocker actually turns back and insults or does harm as a sign of hatred. This is Alec Baldwin. He got arrested or kicked off an airplane because he refused to put down his cell phone and quit playing a little game that he was playing. Well, he's made a mockery of the FAA ever since by talking on his phone at a commencement or talking on his phone on a commercial. He's mocking what happened to him, saying, they really don't apply to me because I'm better than they are. The wise person loves those who gives rebuke, that cares for them and listens to them. Okay? Oftentimes people who are correcting you want your best, and we need to listen to them who are offering instruction. Verse 10 echoes something that was said way back in chapter 1, verse 7. And it reminds the reader that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. We have this verse repeated again, and it forms sort of a frame around this whole thing. And saying, this is the first and the last thing you need to learn. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. We've found that out at the beginning, now we're finding that out at the conclusion. This is the most important key in this whole process of becoming a wise person. This speech places the fear of the Lord, saying, right before wisdom goes on to describe what she offers. Put the fear of the Lord first, and all that wisdom has to offer will be given unto you. And so the next two verses tell us what her rewards are. If you're going to follow wisdom, this is your benefit, but you have to put the fear of the Lord first. You can't work for those rewards. You have to work on your relationship with God, and then those things will be given to you. Now, life has been a consistent theme through all of this. Wisdom has promised us life as one of the rewards. Wisdom protects her charges from early death, unlike her enemy, and she offers them a long and satisfying life. If you follow wisdom, you will have a long and satisfying life. That's a proverb. It's not a promise. But God will be with you and be close to you all the days of your life. And then she says, if you are wise for you, but if you mock, you alone will bear it. And basically saying, you will receive the benefits of that wisdom. It will come to you. But she also says, if you mock, you're also going to receive the benefits of that mockery, and you will be destroyed by it. One will bring you benefits, and you can do it. You will benefit from it immeasurably. But if you mock at God, you will bear the punishment. Wisdom tells us that the responsibility is ours. We need to listen to her and appreciate what she has to say and then do it. So wisdom is always asking us, are you going to choose? You're going to be responsible. She tells us that once you've heard my warning, there is no more excuses. Okay? You've heard that you should be wise. Now you understand. Now there's nothing that you can say to God, hey, I didn't know. And so she says, you are now totally responsible. If you choose wisdom, you're not only learning for yourself, you're learning for others, just like this guy is offering a hand up. Not only are we going to benefit, but we're also going to benefit all of those around us. if we become wise people in God's sight. Wisdom feast then, her instruction and her correction, that's just the first course in the fear of the Lord. As we learn from God, she tells us if we follow these, it's going to just get better and better as we feast at God's banqueting table. Her call is an invitation to know the Holy One. This is what the fear of the Lord is all about. It's not just groveling. It's not groveling. It is understanding who God is. It's entering into the relationship more and more along this way. But then we have folly's invitation. You know, we've been invited to know God better. Now we're also instructed to know folly better. Wisdom's invitation is followed almost exactly, identically, by an invitation from folly. Wisdom has been portrayed as hardworking and generous. I tried to type hardworking and generous and come up with a picture, and the only thing I thought I could think of was Mr. Tebow here. If you're not a Tebow fan, that doesn't matter. My point is that he is a hardworking person. Every time I hear about him on the TV, they're saying he works hard. He may be not any good, but he works hard. I also think he's a generous person because he gave his signing bonus to help orphans in the Philippines. You know, a couple $1 million, dumped it on some orphans to help them out in their lives, and this is a group of them. Wisdom is both hardworking and generous. She is loving and kind to all that she can. On the other hand, we have Russell Brand, who seems to be loud and boisterous and undisciplined and without knowledge. I don't know if you know Russell Brand, but that's who he portrays himself in the media. He just is loud out there. I can do what I want. I don't care how stupid it is. I don't care how noisy I can be. You know, he just likes to be that way. Well, that's what folly is. Wisdom, hardworking; folly, loud and boisterous. Folly calls away those people who are walking on the straight path, and they will fall to their hurt, their detriment. Folly offers us something to eat, but the fare is pretty pitiful. I wanted to get a bucket out of the kitchen last week, and I went to the cupboard that has all of our plasticware in it, and I got out this bucket, and it was half full of mold. And I'm going, You know, this is what folly offers. The food that she offers is amazingly pitiful. She literally says, water stolen, sweet. Food in secret, delicious. You know, and that's kind of true. You know, there is pleasure in doing what is wrong, and there's a certain thrill that comes from going out of bounds. You know, this is just the way we live, and this is just the way that we feel. And we all know this. You know, yeah, let's go get that apple over there because that's the sweet one. But it's still bread and water. It might be sweet. It might be, you know, might be good for a time, but it's still bread and water. I think that's what that girl is saying. Mom, you know, come on. You know, and so no matter what kind of pleasure we might get from it at the moment, it still turns out to be pretty pitiful. There is no real offer of nourishment for life here, only lust that leads to death. I put that up because that's not a real offer up there. You can get one free internet. I thought that was a good ad. I don't know how much they're paying for that, but it's not a real offer. There's no real offer of, you know, bread and water. That's not a real offer. She's only offering something that will lead to death. The stolen waters reminds us of a verse that we read earlier about sexual intimacy, where it says that we should either store up our water at home or we can pour it out on the streets. And wisdom is saying that's what happens. That water can either be stored up or it can go. And folly would say just pour it out on the streets and it won't hurt you at all. Folly separates deed from consequence, offering pleasures but hiding the trap of what's going to result. I love that sign up there. On the top of it, it says York Brewery, and underneath it says toilets. I thought that was putting the deed and the consequences together. You know, it seemed to be really quite appropriate. Most of the time, those are separated out far and wide. You know, yeah, no one talks about, you know, oh, the pleasures of getting drunk versus the pleasures of throwing up. I can understand that. Folly separates the deed from the consequence. Folly uses the very same words, but she sounds like mocking. You know, now when it comes out of her mind, out of her mouth, it seems to be mocking wisdom, saying, oh, you really don't want to do that. You know, that's just dumb. but it's mockers